Okay, so now I've picked up stitches all the way around the toe and using my circular needles, and you can see here's the marker where I began. Picked up 31 stitches from here to here. Your pattern may be different. Oh, and I already removed the center stitch marker, and then another 31 from here to here. And so now here I am at on this side, and what I'm going to do is I am going to pick up this stitches from the holder so that I begin to work in the round again. So there's a couple ways you can do this. If your stitches are oriented properly on the holder, which happily in this case they are for me, I'm going to knit them right off of the holder. Okay, so you can see that. If you're kind of backwards and that's not the case, you can go ahead and remove all the stitches from the holder and then put them on the back needle here. Okay, you wouldn't put them on this needle because this is where you're beginning. You're beginning at the last stitch that you picked up on the toe.
Okay, so you need to keep that marker in there.
Yeah, so this has now become, I've taken it off that stitch and it has now become my beginning of round marker.
Okay.
So you're actually changing where your beginning of round is. This is my new beginning of round marker. Okay, so my holder is in the correct positioning. If it weren't, I would take all the stitches off and I would put them on starting here.
And that would become your beginning of round?
No, my beginning of round will always be here.
Okay.
Okay, so when I'm done picking up that last stitch on the toe, I'm removing the marker from that stitch there, and I'm putting it here to mark the beginning of my round. Okay. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and knit the stitches right off of the holder. And the way I'm doing that is I'm getting a new yarn because we've broken the yarn. We broke the yarn at the end of the toe. Okay, we were done there. I've got a new yarn, I'm just dropping it in, okay, holding it between my fingers here, and I'm going to go ahead and knit that first stitch right from the holder, and then it just puts it right on my circular needle. And I'm going to do that with every one of these stitches on the holder. And when I'm done, there will be no more stitches left on the holder because I'm transferring as I knit, and I will be able to work in the round again. Okay. So you can stop. You can stop.
Well, so what you're doing, because you're going to do that for 7 rows, I think. So you're making the edge of the boot.
Exactly. I'm making the instep. And so this is the first time in the construction of the boot that I've worked all the way around. I've had, I think I started with, like 50-something stitches. It depends on which pattern you're following. And then I broke off. Actually, it wasn't. It was 60-something stitches.
66 stitches.
66 stitches. And then I broke off and separated the heel from the toe. And then I worked the toe separately so that I could have that long piece coming out. Okay. And then I took the circular needles and I picked up stitches all the way around the toe. And now what I'm doing is I am taking the stitches that have been on the holder that are the heel stitches, and I'm joining them with the toe stitches for the first time.
Okay.
So that is different than how you would do a sock, for instance. It's much more simple. There's no increasing or decreasing. It's going to be flat, and that's how it gets the cool sort of Uggs shape.
Okay.
Instead of, there isn't a real heel, it's just sort of a flat surface. Okay. So I am now at the bottom, or at the end of the stitches on the holder, and then you'll see what has happened over here. Okay, I am going to be knitting right from the stitches on the circular needle here. And I'm at the beginning of the toe. Do you see where that vent hole is? And now this is going to be the beginning of the first stitch that I picked up around the toe. But I'm still not at the beginning of the round yet. Beginning of the round we marked when we started this. Okay, so I'm just traveling around the toe here, and then you'll see I'm going to do this. I'm going to do 7 complete rounds, and that's going to make that instep for me, just like you'd find on a tennis shoe or a slipper. So that's it. That is how you...
So then you have to knit the bottom and sew it to the...
So when I'm done with my 7th row round here, I'm going to bind off all the stitches, and I'm going to have a boot without a bottom. Okay, and then the way that the Snugs pattern is written, you actually knit a separate sole, which is just a flat panel, and then you sew it to the bottom. But you can also take, and that's what I'm going to do with this pair actually, you can also take like the boy slipper sole or a leather slipper sole bottom, and you can attach it right to the snug and felt it like that, and there will be a separate tutorial about that.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm almost to the end of my round, and I'm just going to keep on going. So that's it. Just almost the whole pattern is knitting a tube. Almost the whole thing. The only place that's different is here at the ventilation holes and then the toe.
Okay, and can I see what it looks like here?
Sure.
It's kind of hard to see the shape.
So I'm, you know, about 3/4 of the way over the toe, and then that's the heel.
Okay, I get it. Okay.